Hello and welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are your first stop and your last best hope for Transformers news in Australia, and we probably need to update our run sheet. This is episode 131. We are recording live on November 17th, 2017. In this episode, we'll be talking about the first two episodes of Titan's Return. Brad has inserted the question into the run sheet. Will we eat our words? We'll find out, because words are yummy. Takara is stoking the fire with some massive releases on the horizon. Could we finally be getting an animated Devastator? All this and more in this episode of Australian Transformers Weekly. Can you not hear the music?
Well,
okay. Welcome to the show. I am Jason. Joining me tonight, we have Brad coming to us from his undisclosed location in country Victoria. How are you doing, Brad?
oh, totally disclosed. Coming to you live on this Friday night. I'm in my son's bedroom. Hello, Lego.
Yeah. So you have at least...
I've got shit on hand. Here's a turtle van. What else can I get? Oh, here we go. Samurai, go.
I think we need to do the podcast in this room more.
Megazord!
I just love how excited he's getting.
It's been very calm in the pre-show.
It can get dangerous, though.
It can also get shit and disappointing.
Yes.
Wow.
Awesome night. Let's get into this. How are we going, guys?
Right. Coming to us from a fully disclosed location in Queensland. Are you actually in Brisbane, Chris?
I'm actually somewhere within the Australian region, so
it's good. It's good. Good idea. Never disclose your location if you are in fact leading the
Brisbane.
Decepticon military network. It's a good idea.
I'm Brisbane based, so
Brisbane based and everywhere faced.
yeah, and traced.
And defaced.
Yeah.
If you misbehave on a public street, you may get maced.
Oh, okay, let's stop this.
If you accidentally step into an unsecured airlock, you will get spaced.
Oh God, I hope so. If 5 more minutes of this, and I'll be opening the airlock myself.
How are you guys doing, Chris? What have you been up to? It's been 2 weeks since your inaugural appearance on the podcast. We've got you back. Obviously, we liked you first time around. What have you got to say for yourself?
Yeah, I've actually had a really good couple of weeks. It was my anniversary with my girlfriend week before last, and we went for the first time I've had in ages. We went on an awesome little holiday to Mullaney in the Sunshine Coast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a little cottage like in the middle of nowhere with a hot tub, and yeah, like it was awesome. Just drove around looking at mountains all day, and then came home, make a fire at night, and watch movies, and sit in the hot tub and drink beer, and yeah, it was awesome.
Perfect.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, other than that, I've just been doing my thing, and I've got some new toys, and yeah, but more about that later.
Yes, I think some of us have a few new toys this week.
Yeah,
Brad, how are you doing? What have you been up to? Besides messing around with your son's toys.
I'm just trying to find a transformer. I found one.
Actually, I've got a really important question, right? We record this podcast live on a Friday night. Where is your son?
Oh, he's not there. Boy, no, the school's having a sleepover tonight, so they all took the sleeping gear along at 5 o'clock, and we don't have to deal with them again until 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Do you guys pay for that? That sounds like an excellent service.
Yeah.
No, it's just a school sleepover thing. They do
those poor teachers.
once a year.
The kids are obviously at the age where they want to stay at school for the night instead of just like, oh, screw this and going home for the weekend.
It. I wish my son's school had a sleepover thing.
It's like I said, like it's a service that is provided by the school, right? Like surely you have to pay for this.
Well, the worst thing was it wasn't go to school in the morning, we'll see you tomorrow. We had to pick them up at 3:30, bring them home for 2 hours, and then take them back. So they'll chomping at the bit the whole time. Come on, we want to go back. So,
oh wow!
I did just hit myself in the nose.
We might Put the toy down.
Grimlock! Ah! That didn't work.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Back to the pile.
All right, I think we might make a start, shall we? We actually do have a fairly decent crop of news to get through this week, but let's start with this week's winner of Put Your Bot to Work Day in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia Facebook group. This week's winner is friend of the show, John Ryan. Congratulations, John. John actually had quite some success last year with a Take Your Bot to Work Day entry that I believe showed Grimlock making pizza, and he's got Grimlock coming back for a second run, putting some ingredients and an able assist from Wheeljack, spicing up whatever's in the fry pan.
I'm just wondering, what is that Inferno is squirting into the pan?
Clearly egg white.
Yes, flour and water.
Meanwhile, Swerver's drunk.
Yeah.
I noticed those two down there intoxicated heavily.
Yep. Powerglide and Swerve both drunk as skunks. So, like, I would not be dining on anything that those two cook. However, Grimlock is ready to rock and roll. So, you know, if Hidden Grimlock comes up with something to eat.
I'm impressed by that big is whatever that spice thing is that Wheeljack's holding. Like how he managed to,
especially on the angle like that. Like,
it looks full. Like it looks pretty full, and like that's pretty impressive.
Chris, I'll just say having figured out how to position the rainbow flag. By the way, thank you Australia for saying yes. Having figured out how to position the rainbow flag behind me tonight, I will just say blue tack is an amazing thing.
There you go.
Masterpiece joints, not so much.
I think this photo is also demonstrating an able blending of Masterpiece and Master Foods.
Oh, he's on it again.
And just to continue the feel of the night, is Masterpiece Hot Rod walking around missing his arm? Because that's the MP.
Where is Masterpiece Hot Rod?
That's his pizza cutter Grimlock's holding. Is that not the pizza cutter from MP9 or the new Masterpiece figure?
Probably is. Yes. Yeah, it'd be the MP28, I think, right?
Yeah. So Grimlock's taken his arm.
It's all right. Leave him alone. He's harmless.
Oh, God. Okay, you're going to need to mute Jason now, Brad.
Shall we get a move on, because we have a topic coming up that is sure to be divisive. Actually, I'm not sure it's going to be divisive. It's this shit show.
Oh, no bias, clearly.
No bias whatsoever, just disappointment. Titans Return, episode 1 and 2, started streaming this week on, as you can see, on Go90, or for the rest of the internet, absolutely bizarrely, two places where you can find them on the rest of the internet. One, as Chris was fond of pointing out in the Facebook group this week, Transformers Chile.
I'm pretty sure, like,
they did the internet a service by putting it up.
Yeah,
in English.
I accidentally found it in a search.
It's not like they're going to translate it.
Well,
Spaniel.
Transformers Chile is not an official site, Brad.
Yeah, I know, but
and the other official way to watch it is absolutely, utterly, bizarrely, and really annoyingly on fucking Tumblr.
I've heard Vimeo too. Vimeo apparently had it up.
Not sure if it was put up on Vimeo by someone or if it was an official release, because the Transformers Facebook page was telling everyone to go to Tumblr. So there is a site on Tumblr called Transformers Prime Wars, and bizarrely you can't see Combiner Wars on there, but you can see Titans Return. So good job, guys. I had
the Machinima site had I think they still do. They've got the entire Combiner Wars series in one video as a post on their page for people to catch up.
Well, that's good. Yeah, but like you'd think that they'd put it on the Transformers Prime Wars Tumblr site, but no, they didn't. Good job. So, do we go through spoilers? Let's go through spoilers. Starscream is reborn yet again. This time, Starscream, as we pointed out from the preview last week, does appear to be Trypticon. Sigh. Optimus Prime is ready to leave again. Rodimus has decided to hand over the Matrix and return back to being Hot Rod, and so Trypticon starts laying waste to a random Cybertronian city that appears to have no people in it, and the welcoming committee made an appearance and were completely ineffectual against him. Despite the fact that Trypticon appears to be unable to turn around, he managed to snatch jets out of the air when they conveniently flew straight into his hands.
They flew into his back.
Yeah. So the welcoming committee, not very welcoming. I believe they may be rusting in peace at the moment from the size of the explosions that we saw, which did seem to be slightly out of proportion. But go on, Chris, what's up?
Sorry, mate. I was just going to mention that this was actually a big topic of discussion on the Decepticon military network, because basically one of our admins made a post along the lines of it being the welcoming committee, because there was, of course, Sunstorm, the yellow jet, unmistakable. Yep. There was a blue jet with red stripes. There was a purple and black jet, and there was a lavender and black jet. Now, the welcoming committee from G1, the Seekers, there was a bit of an argument because some people were saying that the blue jet and the purple jet were supposed to be Thundercracker and Skywarp.
They did look like it, didn't they? Because the purple jet was not purple, but actually black.
Yeah, well, somebody pointed out that Nacelle is actually also a member of the welcoming committee, and Nacelle shares a similar color scheme to that purple and black one that people were saying was Skywarp. And Bitstream is almost identical to Thundercracker. So I'd say, given Sunstorm and what's the other guy's name? Hotlink? Sunstorm and Hotlink, I'd assume that they were the welcoming committee. But the funny thing was, my point here was, I think the reason they used some sort of lesser known Seekers was because of the fact that for that scene that they appeared in, they could have used any flying Transformers, because that's basically the purpose they serve, was to fly, attack Trypticon and get their asses handed to them. I think the Seeker thing was just a nice little cameo, like just a little nod to Seeker fans, you know?
I want to pause that for a minute, because we can't discuss that without discussing the fact that the animation quality and designs does not appear to be there. And so the follow-up to that is sort of, well, they kind of used the Seekers because they didn't have to make another flying Transformer, if that was the case.
True,
right?
That's true.
Yeah, those characters you discussed, Chris, they're comic characters, obviously comic characters.
No, they're G1
no, they're not. They're in the cartoon.
They're in the very first episode of the G1 cartoon. The very first episode
there was even a photograph posted on the group.
They're called the Welcoming Committee. It's not their official name, but they're called that because in the cartoon, I think it's Bumblebee and Wheeljack trying to get somewhere in Cybertron, and a bunch of Seekers fly down and attack them. And I think Wheeljack says something like, "Uh-oh, here's the welcoming committee." And that's why that group of Seekers has kind of picked up that name over the years. Like, I don't think it's their actual.
That's not Thundercracker, Skywarp, and...
Okay. Let's talk about Titan's Return.
Mind blown. Okay. With the whole Starscream going to Trypticon thing, I don't mind it because it's just resounding like the Ghost of Starscream. He done it in Beast Wars where he was going from bot to bot. The fact that he come across, this isn't Trypticon. This is the battle station Trypticon was destroyed and in pieces.
Yeah. They did mention that there was a Trypticon. It's not like Starscream just became Trypticon. There was a Trypticon, and he seems to have possessed its body, sort of thing. So
and rebuilt whatever. Yeah. So I don't mind that. I actually quite like the fact that Trypticon was dead. He didn't just fly around. Oh, there's a big bot. I'm going to inhabit it. He thought it was his return to his own body, but whatever was going on there, no.
Oh, we'll find out. But the thing is, they I think Metroplex, Perceptor, quite a few characters in the show actually say, Trypticon a couple of times in the show. So they perceive it to be Trypticon. I think the whole Starscream possessing it thing is yet to be revealed to them, obviously. But I think that kind of really addresses what a lot of people were fearing in the trailer, is that, it's just Starscream with a Trypticon body sort of thing, I think it is Trypticon. It's just possessed by Starscream.
I think what we were saying last week was that Starscream is Trypticon, which is accurate.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, but it hasn't always been the case.
For the purposes of Titan's Return, Starscream is Trypticon.
Yeah.
So, voice acting.
I've got no problems. I don't get
Seriously.
the Judd Nelson love. I don't know why he had to come back as Hot Rod. It didn't need to happen.
So
It's good. It's
I
good.
do think
I kind of feel like Judd Nelson's voice has aged rather a lot
terribly.
in the intervening years, and so Hot Rod now sounds like he's middle-aged or perhaps even a little bit older than that. And
I don't even think it's the age. I just think he seems to like. He's obviously just gone like, because he's done heaps of movies since he voiced Hot Rod originally in Transformers, and he's obviously a world famous actor now and sort of a veteran Hollywood star. And I just get the impression from his performance in the show that he's just kind of like, oh yeah, hey, I'll do Hot Rod again for you. But like, there's no like passion in it. There's no enthusiasm. He seems really bored, and a lot of his lines are just like really flatly delivered. Like, consider if you compare it to his delivery in the first in the cartoon movie, you know, he really gives Hot Rod character and life, you know, like a voice actor should. But in this, he just seems like, you know, I actually really enjoyed Titan's Return, but I found his performance was, and I was excited that he was going to be doing Hot Rod again, but I just found his performance like really kind of disappointing.
Can I shine a light on another character that will make you instantly appreciate Judd Nelson's performance as Hot Rod?
Go for it.
What the fuck is up with the Mistress of Flame? Oh, sorry, should I say, what the heck is up, Mistress of Flame? Really?
There was no staff tapping. I didn't mind it. There was no staff tapping.
I actually have no idea what
you didn't have a problem with the performance at all?
Apart from her inability to act. Act?
Well, I guess for me,
no
she's exactly identical to how she was in Combiner Wars, so I wasn't really expecting anything different, to be honest.
We'll get to Spin Blade in a minute, but there's. I
don't believe there's a character called Spin Blade.
Well, it was going to be Shit Blade, but I wanted to be.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so yeah, let's. So Mistress of Flame, don't really give a shit about Windblade.
And again, it's only the first 2 episodes. There's a bigger story here. It's not
a bigger story, Brad.
Well, it's not like Combiner Wars where we had the first episode was Combiners beating the shit out of each other and Windblade cutting one in half, and then the second episode was. Yeah, it just
there's not a bigger story here.
This seems to be stretched out more. Not everything is happening per episode. It seems to be stretched out.
Look, it is going to be a 100-minute show all up. So yeah, fair enough. We've got into Trypticon inside the first 20 minutes, and Metroplex is gearing up to fight him, but is still too damaged. So yeah.
But can we mention the big thing? The big thing that nobody sort of knew about, because they didn't sort of give any hints or any teasers about, is the fact that in the second episode, the Combiners are being sent off to find Fortress Maximus, and there is going to be 3 Titans involved. I was very excited about that because, I mean, it's moving pretty quick for me. Like, at the end of the second episode, basically Metroplex and Trypticon are just about to juke on, you know, like they left it where they're about to start fighting. So the fact that they've still got to go find Fort Max and he's going to be involved, and is there going to be any more Titans? Or
that's one thing I sort of mentioned. It's like, here we are, the first 2 episodes, and Trypticon's already laying waste. Like that should be the third act sort of thing.
There's not much difference between episode 2 and episode 3 when you've got 10 episodes, but okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's just. And again, okay, we've seen Unicron in the first 2 seconds of the live action or the 86 movie, but it just, here we are. We've got these 2 Titans going together. Obviously, we're going to get Fort Max and Emissary coming in to maybe mediate. We've talked the last few weeks about sort of the animation models, Energon, how they're just scanning the characters. When we had that long shot of Metroplex walking across the horizon, and everyone's sort of wondering what to do, and you've got those 4 big tires hanging off his ass as he's walking along. It's like that is just the Titan's return, the Titan figure, just scanned with some torso additives. But
I think it's a little bit interesting looking at the animation style, how we've still sort of got this pseudo cell shaded look for most of the main characters, but the poster that we're looking at here clearly shows sort of more detailed 3D renders of these characters. These almost of the figures.
It's quite strange because some parts look animated and other parts look like actual figure, like they've like rotoscoped over the top of it.
Yeah,
like it's weird. Like if you look at Triptychon's fingers there, they look animated, but look at his arm. It's like the rendering is totally different. Like it's strange. I think they've definitely used the toys and then just like rotoscoped over the top.
I think, like I said last week, if you use the toys, you don't have to actually build any 3D models, do you? Because someone's already going to give them to you.
And that's what we've talked. That's what we've talked about with the Unicron trilogy. Like what they done with that, there was nothing wrong.
I thought it was only Energon that did that.
Oh, Energon, okay.
No, they both
going
did it.
broad.
It's just that Armada animated it,
3,
and Energon did computer graphics for it. So and then animated it. Yeah,
Armada was hand animated, but Energon was more sort of flat cell shaded, and Cybertron / Galaxy Force was more straight up CG.
Yeah, same as Beast Wars style CG. Yeah. Yeah, they went different with each one. Apparently, in Japan, those series aren't even. They
are not connected in Japan.
Not connected at all.
Yeah.
Which
it was Hasbro's decision to connect them.
That totally makes sense because the English dub version just makes no sense if you try and connect them together.
No. So it makes sense in that the connection between the series makes no sense. Let's talk more about Titans Return before we move on.
I've got a question, or a short series of questions. One, Optimus Prime says, "I'm leaving. Deal with it. I'm going." 2, Megatron just sits there and looks in the first episode.
Hold on. Let's get back to Optimus Prime.
Okay.
Can we talk about the fact that when Optimus Prime leaves, he drives the wrong way?
Yeah, what was with that?
And then turns around, stops, and honks the horn in a gesture that the Mistress of Flame is surely like, what the fuck is this? Because like I've never been to Earth.
Yeah, but I until you said that, I just hadn't even thought about it. But it's so weird. Like he drives off, he transforms, he drives off, and he goes the wrong way. Yeah. And then he does a Yui, and he comes back. And as he comes back, he stops in front of her again, and he honks his horn and drives off. I remember seeing that, going, okay, what was that about? Like, was that supposed to symbolize something?
This is what we get for 100 minutes of animation, my friends.
Yeah, that was odd.
Sorry, Brad. Please continue. Now that we've dumped on.
Okay. Secondly, Megatron sits there and just sort of looks and isn't seen again in episode 2.
They had to chuck him in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was all that was, and I noticed it straight away. I saw him, and he's just watching, going, and it's just so people go, "What happened to Megatron?" That's them saying he's there. We're just not using him yet, like, and that's all that.
I wonder if he's formulating a plan, and he will somehow take control.
I actually wonder whether Megatron might be a little bit more towards the bad guy part of Titans Return.
I hope so, because I loved him in Combiner Wars. He was like basically the best thing about the original series.
Correct.
But I just sort of thought, like, it was really cool, the whole thing of making him team up with Optimus and sort of be a good guy for a while. But let's bring him back. Come on, we need our Megatron back. IDW is already dealing with the good guy Megatron thing. We need, there's Decepticon fans out here who want a proper Megatron.
I think so. I do have a sneaking suspicion that Megatron might be a little bit more schemy bad guy.
Well, Starscream's already played his trump card, so somebody else needs to be the schemer in this one.
Well, that's it. We need something. But thirdly, Rodimus decides he doesn't want the onus of leadership anymore, so he goes to the
is that what we're calling it now?
tomb of the Primes, and says, "Hey, you can take the Matrix back and make me Hot Rod again." So he's carrying the Matrix this whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is Optimus Prime not Orion Pax?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah. That was quite strange. But also, I, on a side note, I think it's pretty awesome, and a lot of people hated it. How when they gave him his upgrade, which is weird because it's like, we'll take the Matrix back, and by the way, we'll make you even more badass than you were when you were a Prime. Like that didn't make much sense.
So I skipped that. I didn't notice that. They reverted him. I thought he had his arm cannon back that he always had.
Well, he basically there's a few seconds of where they show him off, and he sort of comes out, and he's got like a Prime style battle mask.
Yeah. Oh, it's exactly the same animation. It is.
Yeah.
Price.
And he sort of turns his arm into like a big gun thing, and he's got different legs. And of course, when he transforms into like, it looks like a Corvette or something, but obviously some nondescript sports car.
We're actually talking about this in the our podcast chat this week. He pretty much looks like the old classics hot rod car from about 2010.
I have to say, like, obviously I don't collect Autobots, but at the same time I can appreciate cool stuff, and I really I'm a sucker for those faceplate masks like Soundwave has and people like that. But that was one thing I really liked. He looked like, I've never really liked Hot Rod as a character until I saw that, and I was like, okay, he's kind of badass now. I like that.
There was actually a really good reason to put a faceplate on every single character in this show.
Yes,
you
definitely.
Don't animate the face.
You can't fuck up the lip sync if no one has lips.
Yeah, can we just take Windblade's whole
Guess
head
what?
off?
Guess what Mistress of Flame's about to get? Upgrade time, baby.
I just wonder what the hell she's supposed to transform into. Like, she's got a cape.
Peacock.
Like, something like that.
Into a peacock, I'm sure.
Like those vacuum cleaners with the bag? That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
Transforms into Mega Maid. She's actually the bad guy from Spaceballs.
Yeah, that's right. She's their Death Star, isn't she?
Well, I loved how Hot Rod showed his arm, and the arm cannon transformation. That sort of screamed the full Cybertron War for Cybertron games to me. Just how their arms
also
transform like that.
Prime picked that up too. Transformers Prime.
Yeah,
and they all instead of carrying guns, they just turn their arms into guns, which I thought it makes more sense, really. But they're Transformers. But then
yeah. But then that just sort of brought home the whole question: is what the hell is this even for?
Yeah, it is straight. I think there's more to be told about that little bit. Because I don't know,
I'm talking the series. I'm talking the series. Like, most of the figures they've altered more so than what the actual toy. Like, it's not a toy commercial. This is not a Hasbro for a free season toy commercial like we always see.
Yeah.
This is advertising G1 figures, G1 voice actors. I still don't get the purpose of it at all.
I think you've got to look at Machinima or however you pronounce it, and their previous work. Like, they're basically like some kind of weird indie animation studio.
They're actually a digital TV channel. Yeah,
well, I first came across them years ago, and I was talking to Jason about this in the group chat at one stage. And I'm a big fan of the Terminator series, and I found a Machinima Terminator movie. And I was like, oh, cool, Terminator thing I haven't seen. And I watched it.
Oh, no.
And you reckon, you guys complain about the animation in this? Like, that was rubbish. Like, it was pre like, PlayStation 1 graphics. Like, I couldn't even watch it, Like,
but here's the thing, right? Just because there's something out there that's worse doesn't mean this is good.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that at all. Couldn't be further from what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it sort of gives you the impression that when these guys are making stuff, and I'm not by no means excusing them or anything, I'm just seeing like where their sort of, efforts come from. They seem to be working with, for whatever reason, a really low budget. Like, and if they do have a high budget, then they've got some explaining to do because they're not putting it into the actual animation. So where's it going? Like voice actors maybe, but
it's going into the beer fridge clearly.
Yeah, because I know.
Well, here's the question.
It was fully licensed and everything, but I couldn't even watch it. It was garbage. Like it was straight up nonsense. So,
a question: is this just licensed fan fiction?
Oh, Brad, because everything is not a fucking cartoon with you as well. It's fan fiction.
Well, that's just what is happening here. I don't get it at all. Like, I haven't seen that Terminator series, but I'm guessing it suffers the same issues as this. If you're bringing up budget, but
well, we've gone off the first one, Combiner Wars, was very loosely based on a couple of the arcs in IDW, but this one, like, we're in new territory here. Like this, I don't know where this has come from. This story.
So what I find kind of offensive is the fact that they even say that they have writers, but the staff who are behind. So look, you're not going to get the people who made your cartoon come back and do this, right? Like, one, they lived in Japan anyway, and they didn't even make the series that we know and love. They made the Japanese one, but like it's a different take. They've handed the property over to other people and just gone, hey, so what you make of this, right? Here's obviously we're going to get a Power of the Primes next year as well, right? So I don't know, but that is in and of itself, that is not a bad thing to get some fresh blood into the franchise. But you do have a production company involved in this. You do have writers. You do have all of these people who are performing functions on the production of this job. There is a writer. There is a director. There are animators. Maybe there's one animator. I don't know. But like handing the Transformers franchise over to other people is not bad. But we just aren't very happy with the work they've delivered.
Well, we'll look at it like this, though. Okay, you've got to take a little bit of perspective with this because, I mean, as I said about Combiner Wars and the last time I was a guest on the show, I'll say the same about Titans Return. Like, I like it so far, and in fact, I like Titans Return a lot better than I like Combiner Wars so far. You know, we got a way to go yet, but we'll see. But so far, I like it. I look at it like this, though. I was a massive IDW fan when they first started. There's a few IDW story arcs like Stormbringer, All Hail Megatron, just absolute classics, and I love them, and I'll always love them. But I sort of, my point being is everybody's got different tastes. Everybody has different opinions about these kind of things. And for me, even though everybody really, really loves IDW now, I actually think they took a massive nosedive. Things like, Megatron becoming an Autobot and all sorts of stuff. Everybody loves that. I can't stand it. I think it's garbage. And it's just one of those things. It's a perspective thing, like that doesn't mean for me I say all IDW is garbage, because obviously it's not. Otherwise I wouldn't have started reading it. But I think it's the same way you can look at this. Like, I kind of like it. I kind of don't see this as like the end times as like some people do, but there's worse around, man.
There's an excellent article on TF Wiki about Doomed Forever.
Yeah.
This isn't Doomed Forever, but it's just...
Didn't that start with Beast Wars?
I think it did, actually.
Yeah.
But this is not a case of the franchise being doomed forever. This is just a case of, for the second year running, a production that is not very good being produced and marketed towards older fans, going, here's your stuff.
Yeah. Well, to clarify again, like I said, I'm not praising this as like, this is awesome, this is like the best thing yet or whatever. All I'm saying is, like, I actually like it. I think there's better stuff around, for sure, by far. Like, Transformers Prime series, I think, is the best Transformers franchise to come out for a very long time, and it's going to be hard to beat that, but at the same time, like, I think there's much worse as well. Kiss players.
So here's the thing, right? I went and saw Justice League last night. I didn't hate it, but the best I can say about it is, it wasn't too bad.
Have you seen Thor Ragnarok?
That's pretty much what I'm saying about Titans Return.
That is damning Justice League with faint praise, and it's damning Titans Return with faint praise. Like, really, if that is the best that you can come up with to praise it, it's not very good, is it?
Well, the thing, though, is, again, like, I wasn't expecting much from it. I mean, it's like a little diversion. Like, it's not an actual full legit license. Oh, it is licensed, but a full legit series like RID or Prime or Beast Wars or something. It's like, to me, it's a diversion. It's just like a cool little thing that, like, they're not, like you said earlier, they're not trying to sell toys with it. Like, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Well, I doubt you can, sort of Not quite the same way, I'm saying, as say any other Transformers series that has ever existed.
Is
But,
there
yeah.
is there not a Titans Return branded Triptychon on store shelves right now?
Yeah, but
That
is
is
that
not
the
the
one that appears in the
design.
show? Because it's
No.
not. That's not the Triptychon that we see in the show. But just like there's no Titans Return Metroplex. But
Oh,
I
you can
wonder
still
if
get him.
yeah, I know, but he's the Generations one is actually the exact same mold as the Fall of Cybertron one. So yeah,
I think it's naive to think that this show is not intended to sell toys.
yeah, I guess of course it is as Transformers, but I don't think it's got the same drive to do that as other Transformers series do. Not like Robots in Disguise or Prime or or anything else. Like I don't know. It doesn't. It seems to be part of it, but it doesn't seem to be the directive of this series.
It's aiming at an older market, us. So like, it doesn't have to be as overt about its marketing, but like, it's definitely there to sell toys.
Yeah.
Shall we move on, because this is going to be the discussion for the next 8 weeks.
I've got my final thoughts because I liked it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure your sheep are penned. Make sure your horses are stead. Because unlike Combiner Wars, going off the first 2 episodes, I actually found this quite enjoyable. Unlike Combiner Wars, where we had Menasor being the surfer boy, in this, we had Menasor putting his elbow on top of a rock while Longhaul or Scrapper were trying to lift it out of the way, clearing rubble, and he's just sitting there being the big boy on campus.
He's a jerk.
I have no... and I have no issue with that. He didn't speak, or he spoke once or twice, but it wasn't that surfer boy-ish. I didn't mind that. Mistress of Flame didn't beat a drum. We haven't discussed already that we had that awesome introduction that we did not have with Combiner Wars that set the scene. We knew what was happening. We knew who the characters were.
Let's talk about that, because the introduction, the recap of Combiner Wars, at least appeared to be narrated by Victor Caroli, who was the narrator for the original cartoon and movie. And so, like,
I have to check that, because I'm pretty certain it was. As soon as I heard it, I could just hear him going, the brutal Decepticons.
his voice is pretty much, pretty unique, right? And so, unless they found someone to do a bloody good impression of Victor Caroli, that was Victor Caroli.
Well, that's why I thought it was an impersonation. Go like, wow, that's close. But then again, 35 years, like it's been time. It could have been. That's why we discussed
Cullen
it.
Cullen and Welker are still around. Most of the guys who did the original show are still around, so it could very likely.
We've talked since 07. Prime hasn't been Prime since 86. Or if you really want to nitpick the Action Master cartoons of '94, but anyway, my only problem with this was the air quotes comic stuff with Windblade and her shitty speaking to Metroplex. I don't get the limbo. I don't get any of that crap. It's something from the comics, I swear. But why the fuck can't Metroplex?
That's also not from the comics.
Well,
so Metroplex seems able to talk, right?
Yeah,
but he doesn't.
Is the thing, right? Is this
Did he tell everyone to evacuate?
Well, yeah, he did. He did speak, right? But not only that, and this is where they're pandering to Windblade a fair bit, because they seem to, they always give her an excuse to be the most important Transformer. But the thing that really annoys me about that is not only can Metroplex speak, and he does in the show, to be fair, he tells the city to evacuate, and he also speaks directly to Windblade.
All five people in the city to
evacuate. But on top of that,
actually they didn't.
There's a reason Metroplex has Six Gun and Scamper and all the parts that come down it. If you remember the old Marvel Transformer comics, there's like whole stories where like Metroplex is too big to communicate with other Transformers and investigate certain things, so he sends down Six Gun, who normally turns into his turret, because Six Gun is just an extension of Metroplex, but he's normal sized, so he can interact with the other Transformers normally. So that's what sort of annoyed me. It's like they don't need city speakers. Like they can speak, and they've also got parts of themselves that can just turn into normal sized Transformers and communicate for them. You know, like go and sit in a building with Prime or something and have a chat. Like, so yeah, I just think that was pandering. Makes her way more important than she needs to be. You know.
Yeah, and this figure come with a scamper. So
yeah.
Windblade does appear to be somewhat of a petulant child in the first episode. She's annoyed at Prime for leaving, and then basically spends the rest of the episode going, "Hey, what are you doing? You're boring science nerd," and then leaving.
Or the part where Metroplex says everybody leave, and then she's like, "I'm not leaving. I'm coming with you." And she like flies up to him. I get what you mean. It was very childish. No, I'm not leaving. I'm important. I'm coming too.
You are. Can we talk about Perceptor briefly before we go?
I was just going to say, just over a year ago, John posted a very funny photo of him destroying a Generations Jetfire.
Yeah.
I have a real desire to get the Titans Return Windblade and tape it to the tire of my truck and drive 500 kilometers and see what's left.
To be fair, though, although John did that as a joke, he actually used that to make a throne for Starscream.
Oh yeah. It was not a complete waste. Windblade in this series is a complete waste, as she was in the first one.
How about Perceptor?
I was trying to figure if it was the original voice or not. It
was not. It was Will Wheaton from Star Trek Next Generation. Will Wheaton.
Yeah, there's a couple of Star Trek voice actors there, like Michael Dorn. He plays Metroplex. He was Worf, the crabhead. Yeah,
the Klingon.
Crabhead.
Did anyone else think Perceptor was acting kind of blurrish, just active, hyperactive?
Yeah, but he's kind of like that in G1 though, isn't he? He's kind of like.
I think Perceptor's thing is that he's excited by science, and so I don't know particularly what the definition of blurrish is. Do you mean like super fast and like
no, like the character blur?
Well, yeah, just
that's fine. It's fine because the reason I ask is because like I have lived in a country for some time when you ask people how they're feeling and they will respond, "I feel kind of blur."
Oh, okay.
And they don't say it very quickly, so it is not a G1 reference. Just want to get that out there.
Okay.
So, no, I take the point on that. Yeah, I think he does actually sound a little bit blurry, a little bit excited, and sort of flitting from point to point. And I think I thought Windblade actually called him on that as well.
Yeah. Well, he starts going on about molecules or something, and she says something along the lines of like,
"Shut up, nerd!"
And listen, this is important. Can I go? Like, you know, kind of what Perceptor was like in G1. I didn't have a problem with his character.
Well, and that's exactly right. We haven't. Well,
how many times did Optimus go? Perceptor.
Perceptor is a character that has not really been given that much of a chance to sort of evolve into a full-fledged character, and so. We're going off brush strokes from 30 years ago. So
exactly,
if they want to give the character a bit of a personality and a base that way, then fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is really the second time we've seen him on screen in 35 years. So do something different.
They used him as a major character in Fall of Cybertron, the game. Admittedly, that was a game, not a show.
Yeah.
But again, in the game, he's basically G1 Perceptor. Like he's exactly the same as he was in that show. So I know what you mean. He hasn't really developed. He hasn't really done anything new since he was that. Whereas other characters, they've tried new things with him. But yeah, I don't know. He's more of a cult character.
Windblade.
Perceptor, it's time to evolve or die.
Adapt.
He may die in Titans Return. Who knows? I really want to move on.
Yeah.
There's 8 more weeks of this shit show. Let's just move on. Okay, so some other news. Power of the Primes figures are appearing at retailers everywhere if you're in the US. This week, you can see this handy little pile of deluxe class figures that someone handily snapped up and posted to Twitter earlier this week.
It's a lot of Dinobots.
Yeah, there's a couple of Dinobots in there. They are Dinobots, aren't they?
They look like big bubbles on the front of them.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Although it might be just
no. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the bubbles are a little bit larger than
Do you mean
they
like
have been.
the plastic blister thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It seems a little larger than it has been for a while.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that came out about these figures. So Jazz and Dreadwind, whichever, also turned up this week as well. And I don't think we've seen Voyagers turn up yet, but they surely can't be too far behind. There was in fact.
Oh no, sorry, keep going.
There was in fact a hands-on with Voyager class Grimlock posted to YouTube sometime this week, but I'm not sure whether that actually came from a retail release or a factory special.
Who's that then on the top? I thought the one on the top of that pile was Grimlock.
Looks like Swoop.
Oh yeah,
to
that's
me.
what I was about to say. Yeah, but they've all got Grimlock art on them, and it's Swoop.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, the
so
art's
he's like
different.
the generic. He's the poster boy for the
Infernicus. Volcanus.
That one.
Volcanus, I should say.
So that is the combined Dinobot form on the side of the box there, and I think the second one down might actually be not sure actually. Is it?
That's a weird
Dinobot. All of the Dinobots.
Oh, that's a Terracon. That's
yeah. All of the Dinobots are not actually in this wave, so they're not all going to be on this.
Yeah, even though they're all pictured.
No, they're not.
Well, I think they're directly going to be playing off the Dinobots against the Terracons because they'll be the two first combiners. So.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
He's about right. Let's move on. It does turn out that if you are a completionist, you are going to hate this line because the collector cards that have become quite popular inside the figures packaging for over the last few years, each figure has 12 variants of the card.
Oh, what? I thought that was enough.
So, Brad, you said that I put in some small stories. I put this one in purely for that reaction. There are 12 variants of cards in their boxes. Each card describes how a different prime, which are the little guys that transform into the matrices, affect and power up those figures.
So many cards. Are they gonna issue a card binder to come with it?
I'm thinking about getting one of them anyway for all the Titans Return and Combiner Wars cards that I've racked up now. I need to put them in something. So
yeah,
I love them though. I think it's an
I've
awesome
actually just got a collector card box from like a Magic the Gathering deck box, and every time I get a character with a card, even if it's third party or masterpiece or anything, I just drop it in the box, and there's a nice little collection of figure cards in there now.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so
I wish they'd go back to the comics they were putting in boxes. Like they did it in Combiner Wars a bit, but they used to do it in Generations as well. They'd just get an IDW issue and slap the character on the front. And
I think there's a pretty good reason they don't do that, and I think it comes down to the weight of the figure. Comics are heavy, and so like if you don't have to add that amount of stuff to the boxes, then you can ship more for less. So, and also, I think people buy the comics anyway, so it's just sort of like, why the shit do I have this?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I've got a couple there that I've never read before because they came with like Wild Rider or some random dude from Combiner Wars, you know. Even it's funny, they slap that character on the front of the comic, but that character doesn't actually appear in the comic or have anything to do with it whatsoever. So,
and so that is I think also really one of the reasons why they don't do the comics anymore, because there isn't really a link.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they had like this will be going back a bit, but IDW used to have. Was it IDW? Yeah, I'm pretty sure IDW used to have one-shot fan art in the back covers of the books, and you know, if they did that, like if they got some people, not even the IDW guys, but like some other artists to just do art or something like that, and just put a couple of pages or something in with the figures, maybe that'd be a nice little addition. But I don't know.
The Energon series used to have an actual series of little mini comics in little booklets that came with every figure, and it was a full story with issues.
I think it was Dreamwave's Energon series, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it actually came like with their own little booklet. Like I got one with every Energon guy I got in a box.
Yeah,
and And it's like it was specifically written as a release for the toys rather than they just ripped it from another thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess that takes a lot of time, but it made it special. You know, it was kind of cool because you can't get that anywhere else. You know?
Ultimately, I think deluxe figures, and maybe you could do it at a Voyager price point. I don't know, but I feel like deluxe figures, they're just trying to cut their costs. Like they're using less plastic in them. They're making more hollow pieces. Yeah, and so like I think the days of like even adding a lot of accessories into the deluxe figures are probably gone.
It's a weird time because deluxes in the as a chug collector, deluxes went through a golden age just towards the end of the universe line.
They totally did.
But now I don't know. Like Titan's Return, they've smashed back like better than ever with detail and characters and stuff like that. But again, they seem way more hollow now, and they really are.
Look. Plastic is expensive. I think I said this last week. But plastic is expensive, and just like oil prices, like you need oil to make plastic. So if you can use less plastic in constructing a figure, then your cost is going to go down. This is why figures have hollow legs, hollow arms, everything like that. It's not a surprise. It's just a commercial reality, and this is why the deluxes cost $30 instead of $40. I mean, we've seen better paint. We've seen better paint jobs in some of the figures in the last year on the last night, and guess what? They were more expensive.
So how do we make vegan Transformers?
I don't think that's actually.
But if you use palm oil, then you're killing orangutans, Brad.
Yeah,
so.
if you're not using
I think we might move on.
Yeah, we've reached that point again, haven't
we? I will just point out, like, so I saw this photo earlier this week. This looks ridiculous. I tell you attach a pretender suit to the front of a figure and then attach whatever they call a prime master to it. The power of the primes apparently seems to refer to the ability of the figure to stand upright without falling forward.
And Carrot's foot arm.
This is why Jazz actually has enormous feet.
There's too much going on there. They're trying to cram. I read something somewhere today where it was quite funny, where somebody was saying it seems like for Power of the Primes, Hasbro have basically jammed every gimmick possible that they can and threw it all in the same thing. And yeah, I mean, I love gimmicks like the Next Man, but there's too much going on here. A pretender shell with a headmaster thing with a little power upgrade that snaps it. It's like just one would be fine. I was cool with the headmasters. Let's just dial it back a bit, Hasbro. Like it's like there's more time. It's okay.
One thing I'm looking forward to with Power of the Primes is figures that don't have the generic bulky head design of a headmaster.
That's true.
Or the torso combiner port.
Well, we're still getting those. Shall we move on? Let's get
combiners aren't going anywhere, man.
Let's move on. There's a bit of movie series news with apparently there's a couple of new series of movie figures due to come out in the next few months. There's a rumor that Hasbro might be introducing a movie classics line, and there does seem to be a movie edition series coming along that will be finally producing an Age of Extinction Stinger, as you can see from this tiny photo in the middle of my screen.
So small.
It's so tiny. So yeah, Stinger was apparently shown off at an event in Taiwan along with some other upcoming movie toys, and they don't necessarily match up with what we know. Now,
that's his alt mode. Definitely his alt mode.
Yeah.
So this
the Hasbro one looks a million times better just from what I can see there. But yeah, way better. Like actually looks like him. But
so this caught our attention this week, along with this news that there is in fact a new movie toy line coming for 2018, which seems to be called Studio Series. I'm wondering if there's a relation between this rumor of this upcoming bunch of movie toys and the Studio Series. Someone has gone through the computer at Toys R Us and produced this very interesting looking report with a bunch of numbers on it, which basically goes to 10 deluxe figures, 7 Voyagers, and 3 leader class figures. So we may be getting some new figures coming up. Let's have a look at this photo here. Nope, that's not there. I'm just going to go back. So yeah, oh, that's actually the photo that
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
we're looking at there. So yeah,
Starscream. Is that movie Brawl?
Yeah, 07
Hmm.
Brawl and
And
100
Prime.
Fallen.
there's Brawl, Prime, Starscream,
Oh, and Megatron.
Megatron, Prime, Starscream, and there's that Stinger again, which
Stinger, yeah.
the appearance of that in this article might indicate a link between the lines. This
Yeah,
is
they've already done Stinger, and he was great. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess it's a scale thing. Yeah.
maybe it is. Maybe it is.
He's got so much kibble. Like, there's so much going on there.
Yeah, I did notice that.
He's a movie figure. Like, he's going to have kibble.
Yeah, but like I said, they've got a movie Stinger, and he doesn't have all that kibble. He looks fine. He just looks like a red bumblebee, you know, which is what he was in the movie. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. Because you can see his arm is a car canopy. Like,
isn't he a red Camaro as well, though?
No, I think he's actually a different. I think it's actually a different car. I think
he turns into a different car, but the robot is identical. He's a red bumblebee when he's a robot.
Okay.
I think the article said a Pagani.
Yeah,
because it was a Toys R Us exclusive. So I do remember seeing it on shelves there, but never ended up getting it.
Speaking of kibble, here's Masterpiece Movie 5 Barricade. Take it away.
Hello, baby.
I like him.
Apart from that head, that scrawny little head, but they went off CG models, so maybe I'm just not thinking.
I actually wish
CG models much.
I wish they went with his new Last Night mode, because that's awesome. Like, I love Barricade. He's actually one of my favorite characters, and chug wise, I've got every version of Barricade there is. But I just think that was one thing the new movie got right, is it was a vast improvement of his design. Like, he just looks so much cooler in the new movie. So I don't know,
because he wasn't lanky. He wasn't lanky like this.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a pixel, you know. Yeah. But considering his old design, because I've got like the chug versions of this one, it still looks really nice. And that Mustang police cruiser mode is beautiful. They've got all the little gimmicks, to punish and enslave, and the police badge, and
the door that doesn't tab in.
It'll work out. But that's like comparing it to the Last Night stuff. Like the 07 Barricade and the Dark of the Moon Barricade were both in alt mode. They'll probably two of the best alt modes ever released. Like they'll pretty much straight up the Mustang car. All the decals looked really fantastic. Yes, there was a size difference from 07 to Dark of the Moon. It shrunk a bit. We lost the frenzy ejecting out of the front. This doesn't have that, which is a big shame. And again, it's sort of he was one of those 07 movie bots where they come in and made a live action version of a non-existing character compared to the existing characters, but there was just that lanky sort of stuff, and it was a movie design.
Considering as a bot that came movie first, the amount of love that's out there for the character was quite astonishing.
I love Barricade, man. He's like, it's the fact that he's a Decepticon cop.
Of course you love him.
Yeah, but it's the fact he's a Decepticon.
Why don't you marry him?
You know what I mean? It's like, normally all the cops are Autobots. Think about it. You got Prowl, you got that rescue bot, you got all the cops are Autobots, but for once the Decepticon's got a cop, you know, and he's a badass cop. So I think that's his appeal. He's
4 words: to punish and enslave.
Yeah, that says it all, man. He's a dirty cop, and that's what the Decepticons needed, I think.
Yeah.
But back to the figure for a sec. Like I said, I love the character, and I've got just about every version there is of him. But looking at that face, I do like this, but that face is like way off for me. Like, he's never had a white or a silver face. Like, and it sort of looks out of proportion with the rest of his body.
Yeah, it seems really tight. Like, it just doesn't. There's no mass to it.
Yeah, and is that a mouth? That black thing? I don't know what is going on there. So
it looks like it.
It looks like he's got like black lipstick on it. He's like, he's like, I don't know what's going on there. It's more of a like black arachnia head or something.
Very insectoid.
Apart from that, though, the body looks good. I like those blue highlights. But that's pretty cool. I don't think any of the changes.
And like we've seen, Yeah, and like we've seen with the previous story, like there was a hint there at a movie Blackout as well in leader class. So it's just the original figure had very little articulation, had knees, it had no ankles.
Yeah.
There was a
The
pain
arm
to
had
stand.
a really annoying thing where it shot out like a
Yeah, it
baton
had like a
thing.
power punch.
Yeah, and it just constantly goes off. Whenever you're touching him, he just keeps flipping
Yeah,
out and setting. Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
like that at all. So
This thing's got hands. Like he's got
Yeah.
established hands.
Yeah.
I don't know if those wheels on his hands are his back wheels. I
They
really
were-
want to see the transformation for this.
Yeah, the other thing that sort of looking at it closer, it kind of puts me off a little bit is the chest. Like, there's some pretty
Yeah.
cavities in that chest. Like, it doesn't seem to be very well engineered. Like,
It's
'cause
not the Mustang at all.
yeah, because the first deluxe that came out that I've got, that's the one where you can pull the frenzy out of his chest. And the annoying part about that is if you take frenzy out, there's a hole in his chest because frenzy actually forms the grill in the front of the car. Whereas if this doesn't even have that frenzy, then what is the excuse for the big hole there? Like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that.
No, that because when you transform it, you can either leave the front of the car together, or it extends out and for when the head comes out.
Yeah.
And then you can either collapse it back in around the head, or you can leave it sort of just parted a little bit and have the head there. But again here, like that whole what the bonnet should be is sort of angry eyebrows, and it's not.
It's like a GoBot.
It doesn't say Mustang at all. Where majority of even any movie you've bought, you can at least see the alt mode in the chest.
Yeah,
that's where the front of the vehicle or item goes to.
I think this would be great if this was like a Voyager or a Deluxe or whatever, and it does look pretty cool in a lot of aspects. But the fact that it's going to be a movie masterpiece is like, I don't know, like it seems like they've really slacked off on the alt mode. Looks great. The cruiser looks brilliant, but I don't know. I don't mind parts of it. Like I said, I like the blue highlights, and like you were saying, Brad, I like the fact he's actually got articulate hands rather than the big.
He actually has 30 points of articulation. He transforms in 40 steps, and in a first for a diecast, and first for a masterpiece for quite a while, he has diecast pieces.
But yeah, that's the only two drawbacks for me in robot mode is that head. That head looks weird. I still can't sort of make peace with it. And the chest, there's a big, I don't know though, it might be the angle, but that chest, it just looks like there's a big chunk missing from it, you know?
It could be the angle. Let's have a look at a different angle. There you go.
I just don't want all this.
Yeah.
I don't want all this in leader class. Prime's fine for leader class. I don't want a leader class B. I don't need a leader class car. Like it's not. It shouldn't be as big as Prime. It's not going to look good on a shelf stand next to each other, and that's why I haven't gone after B and I haven't gone after Prime because they're just too big.
Does no one know why Barricade doesn't need air conditioning?
He's got a fan,
It is kind
baby.
of cool. It is kind of cool that they got that thing because
it's a neat little accessory.
That was actually something he used in the movie, I guess. So,
do you know, it'd be a better accessory? Frenzy. Where the hell's Frenzy?
Yeah, that's so true, man.
Give us a little articulated Frenzy, for God's sake.
Or at least have it separate, and you can have him sit in the driver's seat like he did in the movie.
Yeah, a little Frenzy headmaster or something.
Yeah.
So we've got that stupid fold in half toaster and the big one that shot discs out of its chest. This is...
Yeah.
Should we move on to the other Takara Tomy reveal for this week that is something that Brad has actually put down money for?
Let's go for it.
Finally.
Let's go for it. Masterpiece Dinobot. We were talking about him in terms of hushed rumors and expensive prices last week, and it turns out that both of these things are in fact true. It is a $245, at least in the US, price tag. I believe we've got him for $269 from at least one local retailer here. So he is actually the most expensive masterpiece that we've seen, and he's also quite large. Okay, he's also quite large. There's a lot of detailed shots have been released of from Takara Tomy this week, showing him off. Now, look, all of that money, looking at his beast mode, the fact that he can actually squint his eye is actually pretty impressive.
I'm also looking at the legs there. Look at the points of articulation.
I want to stay with the eyes for a minute. So, looking at the eyes, I don't know that you can actually squint his eyes or if they're just a replaceable part.
It'd be like the original Grimlock. You'd lift that top cap up and just pull the eyes out and drop the others in. You'd think
maybe maybe. So yeah, look, I mean, like the other Beast Wars figures that we've seen, Beast Mode kind of like a hot mess. But you can.
I'm not going to lie.
If you blur your eyes,
that's not bad.
Thank you. If you blur your eyes, you can actually sort of see his beast mode coming out and just fine. The thing that's quite interesting though is when you actually put these photos together with the other beast, it doesn't look that bad at all. So he does come with a
that picture there
gold disc.
That looks like it's like captured from the show. Like that doesn't look like
it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from the fact the golden disc is a record. Oh, look at that! Jesus Christ, they've nailed it.
They have. Look, I think the figure is going to be worth every single dollar.
Yeah, look at that. That's yeah.
I've always
really
championed for MP13 and MP10 as being the masterpiece figures that you have to have. I have a new number one.
Well, so the thing is though,
without having it in hand, of course.
So
yeah, if you pull him out of the box and he falls to pieces, you've only got yourself to blame for saying that.
So clearly you'll be displaying him in bot mode because you don't like his beast mode, even though he's now the best masterpiece ever.
Well, cassette tape or non-existent truck.
Wow,
he does a great. He's going to be big as well.
Light up eyes.
Yeah, well, in the pre-show thing, I was saying I was actually shocked at an image of how big he is. Like he's like what did I say? He's like three heads taller than Optimus Prime.
It's in the run sheet, Jason.
Yeah, but I can't show people the run sheet, so.
But yeah, but all I was saying was that he's like what, 3 heads taller than Optimus Primal.
Well, the eye line on Cheetor's head on his torso is up to his crutch.
Here we go. Here we go. These are the photos.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there we go. Yep,
that's the exact image there.
Yeah. So yeah, he's much taller than the existing Beast Wars figures.
Yeah,
and the mass is there as well. That's fantastic.
I love those eye laser accessories.
It's not though, is it? I thought it was.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's his
you can clip it over his eyes. Yeah.
Remember he used to shoot eye lasers.
Because I thought it was just a change in colour between red and green eye LEDs, and I was thinking if the
no, you can. There are LEDs in there as well. It also looks like it comes with a base.
Yes, he does. Multi-articulated base where you can pose several different ways on it, which is...
That dinosaur looks better standing on its 2 feet. That doesn't look good. It looks like somebody's just shoved that stem right up its clacker.
Yeah, that's the low road.
At least you know that there's an appropriate eye in the box for that.
But again, this is the third Takara stand that's coming out with a figure. Did we ever see those other stands at tracks and that had mass produced? Have they got out, or is that?
They were $6 a piece, and I have 2 of them.
Okay, all right. Well, here we go. They're introducing a new stand. Yep, a new articulated stand for figures, and just.
Oh, they showed the original. I didn't. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's not the best.
No, but I mean, it's just interesting to compare it, like. Because a lot of the Beast Wars, the original Beast Wars figures, didn't really look much like they did in the show. Like Black Arachnia was a Tarantulas repaint.
Yeah.
Like, they look nothing like each other, but it's interesting to see. Yeah, because like that was all we had back in Beast Wars days for Dinobot. And
But
like
then
to see what he's
that
become now,
was-
like just straight out of the cartoon, he's just walked off the screen. Like,
Yeah, and that was sort of one of the things I had to do because the animation model had his Dino head on his chest. Well, when he transformed, that head didn't go on his chest; it just sort of disappeared into a black hole on his neck.
yeah,
and come back again. It's like okay, this new masterpiece Dinobot, the head on the chest is not the actual dinosaur head, but then you go back to
that's the same
MP10.
with MP Cheetor, isn't it?
Yeah, Cheetor didn't have it. MP10 had a fake chest as well. It's something that engineering has to do to make it look cartoon accurate.
Yeah.
And I've got no problem with that. It looks fantastic.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it? Like, you don't want something that makes sense. It's a friggin' robot that turns into a dinosaur. You don't need that to make sense. You know, you want it to
shockwave. then it needs to make sense.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even realize that that's meant to be the dinosaur head on his chest.
Yeah, right.
Oh
It looks like he's just super deformed.
Yeah.
No, it's more
And that's
apparent
the
in the show.
cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
should we move on?
when he transforms in the cartoon a couple of times, you see his head, like his dinosaur head actually becomes his chest, sort of thing. But yeah, it's not too obvious if you're not.
Well, it comes out of the chest when he transforms, so it's sort of how his head goes over his back, then just comes out the front of his chest. So it's what the hell just happened? But one thing I'm very excited as well, with a slight head retool and a recolor, this could be the Transmetal 2 Dinobot, where he's like the robot Dinobot that we get towards the end of season 3, which excited much.
Well, they did do the Supreme Commander repaint of Primal, so maybe it'll happen.
Double dip, shit.
Well, but people have been saying that like this is a figure that you can't actually repaint, so yeah, you actually can.
Oh, you can, trust me. Because
they'll find a way. They'll find a way.
Apart, make him all chrome and red, and then just do that head sculpt change with the eyepiece, his old monocle, and oh god,
you're really excited, aren't you, Brad?
let's move on because Brad's going to be even more excited by the next story.
Not really.
Pure rumor, but there is a.
Oh yes, I'm excited about this.
There is a rumor that Takara's designers are actually going to be working on a masterpiece Megatron from Beast Wars. The Generations 2018 book that we spoke about on the show a couple of weeks ago, apparently that does actually contain a quote that actually says that the designer's first target was to get to Masterpiece Dinobot, which they have now achieved, and then they're aiming for Megatron. Doesn't necessarily mean he's next, but it does indicate that they are interested in making him.
Well, imagine how expensive he's going to be.
Yeah, we've had three Maximals now to go for a Predacon. Yeah, Megatron is.
We've got Primal. There's no reason, it's the next logical step, really. Because let's face it, the two big Maximals, Cheetor and Primal, they've got Dinobot. We've got to have a Predacon now. Who's it going to be? I would say the only other logical choice would have been Waspinator or Inferno. But, But it's got to be Megs.
We won't get a Waspinator, so it's. I'd love a Pterosaur.
Inferno.
I want
an Inferno.
Oh yeah, for the royalty, of course. But you can't have Inferno unless you've already got Megatron. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe that's if they do a Megatron, maybe that's who's coming next.
Yeah, well, that's it. We've got 3 Maximals, so let's get a couple of Predacons out there. We sort of comment all the time about how heavy the Masterpiece line is towards Autobots over Decepticons. Well, that's because there's more Autobots than Decepticons. But in Beast Wars, it was pretty much level peg. There was 5 aside. So
yeah, that's it. I have to say I'm hoping this is true because as I said in the last time I was a guest on the show, I don't normally collect MPs, but like there's certain ones that I would make an exception for, and Beast Wars Megatron I would make an exception for sure. I'd definitely get that. I mean, one of the last ones I got was the anniversary Beast Wars Megatron, which is basically just like a slightly modernize like Voyager size Beast Wars Megatron. They've done a better paint job on him. But yeah, he's fantastic, and he's the whole reason I bought that Waspinator is because I needed more Beast Wars stuff. So if they do this, I'll be grabbing him for sure. No
And
question.
you can repaint it. Paint it orange, paint it T-Rex. Done.
Yeah, there you go.
People will buy it. So this is exciting.
What is it with painted orange for Beast Wars repaints?
It was the go-to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the most I'm all hamped up for Masterpiece at the moment for this stuff.
Let's just hope it's true. I mean, it looks good. It looks fairly like
it is a published it is published work.
Yeah. But then again, who's to say that you know, even if that is true, and they've said that now we're aiming for Megatron, and then the guys at Takara and Hasbro turned around and said, no, we want you to do this instead, or you know what I mean? Like, there's always you know.
The fact that they're interested in it does not mean that it's actually coming.
We're going to get a Jazz that looks like Dino, like Megatron. Oh, you want me to work on something else? Well, I'm going to make it look like shit. So.
That's it.
I don't believe that's how they work.
I'm making a purple Grimlock, right?
Can it please just look like that statue, please?
Oh,
it's got to look like that.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Like that's going to be the standard by which it's measured.
Yeah.
Can we Can we make like a fundraiser for the club where we can all just chuck in money to get one of those statues, and so we can all take turns like looking at it and touching it?
It sounds like you just want everyone to buy one.
Yeah, well, just buy me one. That'd be fine. It's only
I see where you're going with it.
$3,000 or whatever it was. But, yeah.
All right, let's move on. What have we got? We got A+ Toys, their animated Dirt Boss. This guy has been around for quite some time, and I think this might be the first time we've actually seen a painted prototype of him. It has taken them quite a while to sort of finish him off and get him ready for market. He looks pretty fun. It's not really something I'm going to be looking to add to my animated collection, but he's got the emotion or the evocative face of an animated figure, and he's got the proportions as well. So fair enough. It just doesn't really do that much for me.
Until that. It just screams
that still doesn't do that much.
I'm really surprised, Jason. I know that you're a big animated fan, and to see a possible animated Devastator, and like, wouldn't you be like losing your shit right now?
It's not a possible animated Devastator. It's one piece of something that looks like it might one day become an animated Devastator, but this piece has been floating around in design for a year.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
The only company that takes longer to get their toys to market is these guys.
What a transition. That was the best segue I've ever seen.
You're welcome. So Fans Toys has also shown off is that their first combiner?
It is.
It is. So Fans Toys is doing aerial bots, and they have shown off the first look at their Silver Balls figure this week. And he does look typically Fans Toysy and very good and very G1 accurate.
Yeah.
And
look at that face. It looks really nice.
Yeah, it does.
He really does. He's probably not going to get released.
Hands and fingers.
Probably not going to get released until about 2030. Enjoy your first look, because we will be loading this up in a year and going.
It's not bad for Auto Scum.
not to be one of those petty collectors, but look how robot kibble the bottom of that jet looks. It's flying over his head. Go back up. Look at that.
Oh no,
that looks like
that looks pretty much like Silverbolt.
Yeah, it does.
So you can get a bit of a glimpse of what the rest of the team is going to look like in their bot modes from this image as well. If you just sort of squint, then you get a good look at them.
It just looks like that same old thing. It just looks like a really, really well done, like modernized G1. You know what I mean? Like
it does. It's Fans Toys trademark.
Yeah, that's it. That same like it looks like what the G1 toys were meant to look like. You know. If they had all the technology,
joints to the block.
Yeah, But I love that face though. I don't know, like that's just really impressive. It's just the look, I guess he's got.
Look, he's
Oh,
got
no.
he's got a Concord mode as well. Hands down, this is going to be the biggest breakage on the figure, I think.
Knockoff replacement nose cone galore.
Don't ever fly.
Actually, yeah, no, there'll be a good market for replacements for this on shape waves.
Higher and higher. If you are so on fire, you wish you never hopped on board.
So
yeah,
he's a good looking alt mode. He's Silver Bowls. So, yeah,
no kibble. So where is all the combiner parts?
it's in that shaded black part that you can't see there.
That's got all the feet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they'll do a Hasbro Combiner Wars and have like a whole bunch of bullshit guns that are actually just giant ugly hands and feet that you snap on, you know.
Well, so we haven't seen what Fans Toys like to do with their combiners, but looking at the jets and the bots, I think they're going to be detachable.
Yeah, they'd have to be, otherwise where are they going to go?
Yeah,
they can't get away with releasing concept shots like that, and then just before release they snap on a couple of. Oh yeah, and by the way, but just
this plane flies through the air with a giant foot on it.
Yeah, but you can imagine it, right?
Well, we haven't seen we've seen those photos last week, the week before, of the other company doing a Superion. We haven't seen a New Age Superion since Uranus, so it'll be interesting to see what engineering and all that sort of does to these new figures and how they combine, how they store their accessories, if they do, or just leave them in the box. But
and how long has it been since somebody's seen your Brad? Sorry, Jason did so many bad jokes. I thought it was, I've got to get one in. But
it's okay. I believe he left the opening wide open there.
Oh, you got one up me there, don't you? I think I just went up myself.
All right, we're going to move on. There's really not much to say about these guys. We know they're coming. We know they'll be awesome. We know they'll be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, Fans Toys expensive.
A little bit of movie news to round us out tonight. It appears that the Bumblebee movie might be abandoning its Generations name and just going out as Bumblebee the movie. The Haley Steinfeld, I can't remember her name, but she posted some pictures from the wrap party the other day. They have finished after 70 days of principal photography. They've wrapped their shoot, and this picture cropped up from the wrap party. It shows quite a different look for Bumblebee himself, and it also shows the title of Bumblebee the movie. So, yeah, there we go.
That kind of just looks like the Bumblebee from the first movie to me, doesn't it? Well, that's just movie Bumblebee.
It's not as detailed, but it's like a generic Bumblebee look.
Yeah. So that's him.
We might see a trailer. We might see a trailer come January, February.
Yeah.
What do we know about it? Is it still? So I heard the rumor was it's going to be him and his World War II days or whatever, or.
No, it's 80s.
80s. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry,
I haven't been overly excited about this release. So.
Is it Volkswagen mode, apparently?
Yeah,
I still reckon that's just a cameo, but anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see about that. All right. We are at the end of the news, and it's a good thing that we didn't do a discussion piece because, like I said, there's a lot of news this week.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some new acquisitions. Brad, you have kindly filled in nil in the run sheet. Chris, what have you got that's new this week? You alluded to the arrival of some... Okay, if we're going to do sound effects, we might try to make them timely. Chris,
you're about to load.
Chris, you said earlier in the show that you had some arrivals this week. Tell us what they are. If Brad could put the sound effect machine down and switch the camera to you, that would be great.
Okie dokie. Well, bit of a backstory behind the first one. Okay, so last time I was on the show, I mentioned that I'm a big fan of the Titans Return line. I'm really enjoying the fact that they're bringing out a lot of characters we haven't seen since the 80s, since the first generation. So I got one today, and it is Quake. Obviously, the
Oh, hello.
now I do believe he is a hardhead Titans Return hardhead repaint.
Yes, he is.
And it makes sense when you transform him because I believe I had the original Quake when I was a kid, and I remember distinctly he was a tank, whereas this guy transforms more into that hardhead style armored car kind of thing. I really like this guy for a deluxe. Like he's got what we were talking about. That's some pretty hollow arms going on there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, legs as well. But all in all, like he's got some really nice features. He's got his big gun that he comes with. It's kind of like on this. Hang on, I'll get in the camera there. It snaps into this swing arm that when you transform him, it goes back like that. But because of that, you can actually once I get it back up, you can actually position it like any way you want, which is, it doesn't seem like much, but that's actually a really cool feature for a deluxe. Also, the fact he comes with 2 weapons, that's not lost on me. That's normally a pretty rare thing. The face sculpt, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on this camera, but the face sculpt is actually really nice. And color-wise as well, it's really cool. But one thing I really liked about it was that when you've got him in tank mode, I won't bother transforming him, obviously, but when you've got him in tank mode, he's got this cool little cockpit that the Titan Master sits in. Nice clear plastic there, really heavily detailed too. There's like a little targeter screen and stuff. But I've noticed also the gun, like has a little detachable thing, and you can put a Titan Master in there. So, yeah, so that's about all there is to it. Like I sort of just kind of got him on a whim. I wasn't. It's just a cool looking Decepticon, and like I said, I had the toy as a kid, so I thought may as well. So yeah, like thumbs up for that guy. He's really cool. I had the rest.
My issue with him is, okay, you're gonna just repaint the original figure. That's fine, but take the gun off and either you could be able to see through it with a crosshair, like have that lens inside. Just do something different with the weapon.
Yeah.
Because the original one had that big...
If I did have to give it a negative drawback, it would be the fact that, well, it doesn't really affect me because I only collect Decepticons, but the fact that if you've got Hardhead, there's not really much reason to get this guy. Like, he's essentially exactly the same. He's just slightly different colors. So
I don't mind his colors, though. I think the colors are quite
they're nice colors, yeah. Like, he's got, you can't really see it on the camera, but he's a nice sort of gunmetal gray on the arms. And there's like this really nice mix of maroon and dark blue plastics going all up him. So yeah, but he's nice. So I got him.
But if you're gonna stick to the same weapons and everything else, at least get that big gun off his shoulder and put the white rocket that you can see through or something. Just take Preceptor, take the thing on Preceptor and make it a little bit longer. Make an add-on bit to make it longer.
Yeah, I agree. They could have put a little bit more thought into him. But for what he is, I think he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, the one I've been most excited about, another grail I've managed to tick off, is my Energon Scorponok. So yeah,
hello.
I've got a fairly big Energon collection. As far as the older sort of less recent lines go. That's probably my biggest collection. And of course, anybody who knows anything about the cartoon or the toys themselves knows that like Scorponok's one of those ones you just have to have.
I agree. I don't have many Energon characters, but the Galvatron style Megatron and Scorponok, I'm very happy to have them in my collection.
Well, I think this guy and the Energon Galvatron that I've got are probably like, out of any line, some of my favorites in my collection. But yeah, he's not by any means a new character. I mean, God, he's getting on now. I was very lucky. I got a very good condition, 100% complete one. So he's got all these bits and pieces. There's not a mark on him. I think the guy who sold it to him must have kept him in a vacuum sealed chamber for the last couple of years because this guy is in perfect condition.
Do the sound effects work?
Well, there's no batteries in it, so and they're those weird little.
They're just button batteries.
Yeah, so I haven't got any of them on hand, but I don't like putting batteries in my guys because it tends to ruin them after they sit on a shelf for a couple of years. So.
Also, this guy has a super sensitive switch, and like if he's sitting on a shelf and like a piece of dust falls on it, then it
Yeah.
will go off and it will scare the shit out of you because you will have forgotten its sound effect by then.
Well, my son has the RID Power Master, well, not Power Master, Power Surge Prime, the one where he's got like a little bird and you put it in and the wings fly up and
Yeah.
everything. That
Big blue
thing,
one.
you'll be sitting there like, well, you know, trying to sleep at 2 in the morning or something, and you'll hear Power Surge. Like, just I don't know what sets that thing off. It's not even motion sensor. So, but you know, I think it's. I keep telling my son it's haunted, but
I think it's clearly,
sounds like
it's
they're
clearly
really-
Hasbro HQ.
well, yeah.
And
So
we're here, let's fuck with him.
I'll finish off by saying that this guy was a grail of mine for a long time. He's absolutely awesome. He's everything I hoped and dreamed for. And yeah, he's going to look really good with my other Energon Decepticons for sure. He's a really, really cool figure. He's actually one of those ones that, like, I've only had him for a little while, but he's actually one of those ones where I just can't stop looking at him and like picking him up and playing with him because, like,
I think he's quite rewarding for pick up and play. Like,
yeah,
he's got enough things that move around, and also like I kind of like the way his claws, his hands open and shut, and they move pieces as they
they're
do
like fully they're really articulate for big scoops,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was way ahead of his time too, considering the time he came out in. He was.
That's it. When was the last time we had a Voyager like that? Like, nothing
Yeah.
from the movies has been anything like that.
Oh, I think he stands up next to like a good 80% of modern Voyagers in my collection as like far superior as far into detail, coloring, you know, everything. I think it's from a different time, and it was a rare one from a different time. So, yeah.
It
Anyway,
is very
moving
rare
on.
considering the rest of the line.
Yeah, that's it. Moving on. I also rescued this from John Ryan's Junker box, but I've been after this guy for a while. There's a reason I'm showing you this, right? I've got this Armada Tidal Wave, the original Tidal Wave. He's perfect condition, just missing an arm, and as you can see, because of the fact that you can take parts off him and add him to Armada Megatron and stuff like that, he's got these sort of clip-on things here. So basically, I just need to find an arm for him. However, somebody in the group, Curtis Moore, I believe, told me something today, and I tried it out, and it actually works.
The combiner ports.
Yeah, it actually fits.
Oh no!
Combiner as ports. So, yeah, so you know, there's something to sort of make him look symmetrical at least for a while, but no. Well, luckily, I sort of posted in the group that I really like this guy and I want an arm for him. So if anybody's got a Junker one, to send me an arm. And somebody actually contacted me and said that they can get me the Energon repaint, which I want even more than this guy. So hopefully that works out. I'm not gonna, you know, throw my eggs in that basket yet. But just briefly on him, like, I know he's only got one arm, but this guy's amazing. He's got to be like, I'm not really as big on Armada as I am on Energon. Like Armada, I could take it or leave it. But this is one dude who's just off the hook. Like, anybody who knows the line knows that he was. I mean, the new tidal wave that came out with Titan's Return in that box set. I think it was Siege on Cybertron or whatever it was. I don't know. I don't really like him. He's just like a weird broadside repaint to me. But
he is a weird broadside repaint.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that's all I see.
And Ultron.
You have such weird standards.
Well, the thing is I know people who are also Decepticon fans or just, you know, collectors in general who have really gone out of their way to like get that out of somebody's set, like buy it individually off somebody because they really want that figure. But, you know, if he was sold individually, I don't think I'd really bother with him. But this guy, you know, the ancestor where he came from, he's awesome. He's just people who don't know, he turns into an aircraft carrier, and you put minicons on his chest, and all of these guns are like individual moving, and I guess like a lot of what we were talking about before, he's an exact replica of how he appears in the show as well. And to put him in size comparison, he's pretty big. He's like that's a deluxe, so he's pretty massive. So, but yeah, so that's what's new in my world. But I'd have to say,
just on that, I think Armada and Energon didn't actually have a Voyager class, did they? They were Ultra class.
Yeah, Yeah, I keep saying Voyager, but they do call them Ultra Class, and it was picked up, strangely enough, in chugs by the Universe line just after.
Yeah.
And they stopped it. I know because I've got a Ultra Class Onslaught. He's the one who turns into the SWAT van. But they dropped it soon after, and they sort of just don't do it because I guess it's
I think Voyager and Leader class lines are an easier distinction for them, even though the names don't really.
yeah, and there's no need for that. Like that Ultra Class Onslaught I've got, there's no need for that like size gap between Leader and Voyager. Like there's no need to have one in the middle there. They're perfectly fine having Voyagers and Leaders, you know. So yeah, I can see why they dropped it. It's kind of like an unnecessary skip, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, that's what's new in my world, guys. I'm really, really loving that Scorponok. I'll be, drooling over him for the next few days, I think.
Hey, I got something else you might drool over.
I know you do.
Yeah, so you might have seen a few pictures posted into the Facebook group during the week, but you can't really see it on the shelf behind me. But I am a fan of these three guys. If I do my TV Weather Girl impression correctly, around here there's some hot weather moving in around here, and watch out over here. There'll be explosions. So yeah, I am quite a fan of the IDW stealth bomber Megatron, and so when Generation Toys Tyrant came up for pre-order, it's just like it's a masterpiece style stealth bomber Megatron. What the hell else am I going to do? Of course I'm going to put down money for it. I got to say, this guy is way bigger than I was expecting. I'll put a light on in there. This guy is way bigger than I was expecting him to be.
Wow.
For comparison, there's Masterpiece Megatron. Like that.
Oh wow!
So that's a figure that a lot of people have in their hands. So like that is how large this guy actually is. He's about a head taller than Megatron, which, according to comparisons in the original comic, is about right. Because after Soundwave rebuilt his body into the new Stealth Bomber version, he came out a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, and a little bit roidier. So the one.
That's awesome, man. That's so awesome. I want one.
he does look great. You can still get him on order. His stock is starting to come in a lot of places. And just to put just really, if I turn that light off, this might show up a little bit better. Just because he is. God, this is difficult.
He doesn't look impressed.
No, he doesn't. Hang on. I have to do this. Before. Fingernails. But
there they go.
Ultimate evil. There we go. He doesn't really like staying lit up. So if someone has a bright idea, but yeah, no, he's fantastic. He looks quite solid, but like the legs are actually kind of hollow, but they've got pieces covering that hollowness, so that's quite good. There's a lot of die cast in him. He is quite. So
Jason, I mentioned in the pre-show about the fact that because I have the Chug Deluxe of that guy that they've of the same character, and we were talking about how on that one, the Deluxe's cannon is actually part of the wings of the stealth bomber, and you have to attach them to his arm. And you were saying it's a similar thing in this one.
Totally the same. If I pull his gun off his arm there, so stay. Whatevs. So if I pull his gun off his arm, it does separate into two pieces, and those pieces, it's very simple. They're just like compress down and down like that. So compress that and then fold that down there, and then they are in fact just two wings of a stealth jet.
And
then
wing tips rather. Yeah.
So yeah, you pull that apart down there, and so that exposes the port that allows it to plug into his arm. So do the same thing on that side, and then
yeah. So it's interesting to see that's pretty much as you were saying. That's exactly the same as the It's the deluxe.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. What
Well,
about the rest of the
that's-
transformation? Is that
No.
similar to?
No, it's totally different. Like, I mean, like, I say he's totally different, but like, like legs go where legs go and arms go where arms go because they're designed they're designed to fit in that area of the body. So like it's not totally different, but it's also not the same.
Well, that's one thing we sort of speculated in early episodes whether or not they just upscaled the deluxe model, or if it was actually new pieces. But
it's definitely not like so. Like there's even like bits folded up on the back. His head. His head, I don't know if you can see there. His head just sort of like sits into place. There's a nice little
sort of
hook
swivel,
on that side. Yeah, his head swivels around, and there's just all these little extra details over the chug figure. I mean, look, if they had actually just blown up the chug figure and charged you, a couple of $100 for it, you'd be pretty upset about it.
I have to say the one of the most impressive things about him is the panel lining for that neon sort of. Neon purple, like they really struggle with that for the deluxe for obvious reasons, but that they seem to have really nailed it from the comic there.
Takara did fine with it on their deluxe. Hasbro, I think, just chose not to, but you can't really see
Hasbro's got
it.
like a weird sparkly paint finish to it, sort of thing, and it doesn't help.
So you can't really see the panel lines in this light because it is a bit harsh on it. But basically you can just sort of see the angle on the chest there, and so they're all filled in with purple over the black paint. So
looks great. Really works.
One of the things that they do in the IDW comics is they sort of try to sort of indicate power and sort of. I don't know, you just sort of like power and strength, I guess, coursing through some of the figures by like sort of showing ports where they're glowing and stuff. And so that was,
they do that
one of the most powerful Decepticons.
They do that a bit.
I like
over the top in in War for Cybertron. They do it to the extreme in that.
But you know what? If you're video game designers, you need something that's going to glow on screen and look pretty evil and attractive or good and everything. So like, it's. I mean, look, more than anything else, it's an artistic choice, and we know that this franchise keeps reinventing itself. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, that is my acquisition for the week.
Lucky boy, I want one.
He is still out there for order. Now, little bit of quick business before we finish up the show. First of all, is there anything else that we need to talk about? Anyone got anything? Did we miss anything?
No, not unless I start digging back in the toy box again.
Fair enough. All right. So a little bit of Transformers Collectors Club business. The Christmas donation drive is now open. There are some great prizes like Masterpiece Megatron, Shockwave, Sunstreaker, which is obviously a pre-order, as well as some third-party bots like the TFCon exclusive Sphinx from Toronto, I think, which is he's half phased out and half normal. So he's got half a normal paint job and half transparent plastic. Very, very highly sought after figure. And there's also figures like Veteran War Dog on offer for every donation of $5. You get a ticket in the draw, and there's no limit. Anyone can enter. So for full details and terms and conditions, do head over to transformerscca.com or look us up on the Facebook group. All the info is in the pinned post.
Yeah. We got Adelaide Supernova this weekend. That's why Max is in here. Chris, did you venture out to Brisbane last week?
No, I couldn't make it to Supernova. However, I did catch up with John Ryan, who went to Supernova. He said it was great. Caught up with a few members of the club there. But yeah, unfortunately, I myself wasn't able to make it.
You've been a very bad boy. You stayed home.
Freudian slip, yeah. No, but no. Apparently, Supernova went great. I helped organise a meetup for some other guys, and I sort of dealt with the aftermath because I went around to see John Ryan and dug through his junker box, and he's actually. Oh yeah, I might mention that too, but it's nothing I want to reveal the results of until they're all done and finished, and they might be a long way away. But John's actually working on a few custom projects for me, so I'm quite excited about the outcome for that. So
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll keep that under my hat until I've actually got something to show you guys. But I know John's working very hard on it, and he's very talented. I'm sure you guys have seen his work before. He's very, very good. So
Also, we'll need to buy a hat.
So yeah, but
That's it.
yeah, that's it. But I heard, yeah, sorry, Brad, I did hear that Supernova went off quite well, and quite a few members went. So yeah, unfortunately
Yep,
we didn't have a table there this year, so I think they just sort of
No.
caught up anyway, and yeah,
Yep.
did their
So
thing.
easy. All right, and lastly, the site's been updated too. We've got some Christmas events coming up in December, kicking off with the Melbourne one at Pleasant Surprises on the 2nd of December, Saturday evening. So anyone in the area, the train comes up and stops close to Pleasant Surprises at Diamond Creek. So we got that there. Brad Turner of Armored Heaven has opened up his store for the Sydney one. So check out the events there. And we've also got the Trade Day in WA that's on the 9th as well. So all information's there. Head over to the website and check it out for upcoming events.
All right. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you are watching along with a live recording, we know some of you are. Thank you for watching, and if you're commenting, thanks for participating. We didn't actually read the comments, but sometime we will. If you want to find out more about the stories we've been talking about tonight, you'll find the links to them all and more in the show notes posted to the Transformers Weekly Facebook page and on the Podbean site. And depending on where you've downloaded this podcast from, they might be displaying in your podcatcher of choice. If you'd like to get in touch with us, we do like listener feedback. You can get us on the official website on Podbean, which is transformersweekly.podbean.com. The Facebook page is called Australian Transformers Weekly. And, of course, we are all in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group on Facebook. If you're not already subscribed, catch the podcast on iTunes, Pocket Casts, YouTube, and other podcatchers of choice and distinction. You'll find the RSS feed RSS feed link is on the show notes and on the website. There is also a companion podcast and a YouTube show called Transformers Legends, which is Brad's Sunday afternoon activity with his boy when he gets back from his school sleepover. And Transformers Legends covers a lot of stuff that's maybe skewed a little bit younger than the stuff that we cover on the podcast. You can find that at tflpod.podbean.com and on the TCCA YouTube channel. Now, of course, Australian Transformers Weekly is a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia. The club's registered and incorporated in Victoria. It's run by volunteers who donate their time and money to make the club better for everyone. So our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country, and we do it by engaging the collectors community. So if you'd like to find out more information about the club or sign up to become a member, which is just $5 a year, you can find more information at transformerscca.com. Thank you for listening, everyone, and we will be back with more Transformers news, views, opinions, and field opinions next week.
See you guys.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
Don't hang up.